shadow on the wall that looks like a man. Well, no, that lamp just moved on that stand. I got movement in the cellars, I got footsteps in the hall. There's no time to waste, I better make some calls. I gotta get ready, make everything right, 'cause all my rowdy friends are goes hunting tonight. Hey, round up the team, let's get started. Hey, this is Brother Mike. There's a party and you're invited. We got the camera set, let's turn off these lights, 'cause all my rowdy friends are goes hunting tonight. This old house has a long history. It should be real, real good for activity. And we got the house wired for sound and got motion alarms setting all around. Got a box full of batteries ready to go, and everyone's itching to start this show. Got our logo tees, driving black SUVs, and that one bald guy with a slick goatee. Hey, round up the team. Let's get started. Hey, this is Brother Mike. Well, there's a party and you're invited. We got the camera set, let's turn off these lights, 'cause all my rowdy friends are goes hunting tonight. Hey, round up the team. Let's get started. Hey, this is your big brother Mike calling. There's a party and you're invited. We got the camera set, let's turn off these lights, 'cause all my rowdy friends are goes hunting tonight. That's right. Go get 'em, boys.
And welcome everybody to PEMA TV.
Welcome to Friday, October 12th. 2012. Yeah, not quite Friday the 13th, but close enough.
Pretty close.
Absolutely.
Been a very interesting week.
Yes, it's been an odd week.
Getting much closer to Halloween.
And getting much closer to going and playing with Mary in Gettysburg.
That is very true.
And Lady V.
I know. But here on PEN, I do have some exciting news for everybody that we did hit this week. If you go right up here above our heads, let's keep my finger where you can see it, right up here above our heads, the buttons above our banner on the website, you'll see a World TV tab. World TV is basically where you can find all of our archive shows and some special stuff that we're only showing over there. But we did get word from World TV this week, out of the almost 350,000 channels that they have now, PEMA TV is now, or Para Encounters Network is now ranking number 26.
We were 28 2 days ago.
Yeah, we are 26 out of a little over 350,000 channels, and I am very humbled by that. And thank you. We like to thank all of our viewers and our listeners for that. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely, you guys rock. Without you, we wouldn't be us.
Yeah. We really appreciate that. I mean, and our show hosts are top notch. They work really hard. I know some of them may do a really good show, and as soon as that camera goes off, they're puking in a trash can. I mean, they are. We got some troopers over here. So, going to be a whole bunch of stuff coming. Please, once again, go up to the buttons up top. Check out the store tab. Stuff is a changing over there. If you have a product or a service that you'd like to advertise over there, give us a call. Look us up on Facebook.
That's legal.
Oh, and by the way, if you want to be a stalker, if you really want to work on your stalking skills, practice here on PEN. Go right below the chat room, and there's all of our social media buttons. Practice following us and work on your stalker skills.
And if you really want to stalk, send me an email. I'll give you his address.
All right, guys, but tonight...
Oh, we have guests. Yes, we do. You threw me there for a minute.
I hope.
No, that's just some weird noise. Anyway, our guests tonight are from the Skeptic Edge. I hope I pronounce this right. Joe Couto and Kale Kelly. Gentlemen, are you with us?
We are here.
Yes, we are.
Awesome.
Did I pronounce it right?
No.
No.
Close.
Oh, well.
Actually, it's Couto.
Couto. Well, it's C-O-U, it's O-U-T, it's Couto. Okay. Joe Couto and Kale Kelly.
Joe, I feel your pain. Our last name is Reisinger, so trust me, I've heard a few unintentional mispronunciations. Let's put it that way.
I've heard unintentional mispronunciations from farmers. So
I've heard some intentional mispronunciations too, and they had a lot fewer letters in them.
Yeah.
Can you guys real quick just catch our viewers up? I know you guys do this little radio show thing on Z Talk Radio. Could you catch our viewers up on what got you started doing that?
Go ahead, Joe.
Kale? Oh, you want me? Okay. Well, I'm trying to think when. I want to say maybe 2007, 2008. A co-founder of our team and myself, we started a little radio show called the Skeptical Ghost Hunter. And we were just on a small little network. And, you know, it just, as we kept going and getting into it, and I ended up meeting up with Scotty Rourke, who invited us to come over to Z-Talk. And the co-founder had left the show right after that, and I searched around, bounced through some co-hosts for a while, and ended up teaming up with Kale, and we've been doing the show, 2 years now over there?
It's like since 1968 or something. I don't know. Isn't that in Vietnam?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Vietnam, even better.
No, I actually did a show with my wife called Perspective, and then let's see, Joe was kind of doing his thing, and I don't know, he needed a co-host, and Joe and I got along really well, and we clicked, and so we stayed with the Skeptical Ghost Hunter for a while, but after a while, I guess we just got burned out on how many EVP shows can you have, how many psychics can you have, you know, we both had interests, well, me, you know, especially had interests outside of just ghosts, and I said, well, what if we had this roundabout show where we can talk about everything and anything, and so that's where the Skeptical Edge was born.
I do know that you're the great thing about how you titled it is that I've always considered skeptics to be kind of the rudder of the ship. You know.
No, it's not like we get on there and just spend the whole show saying, "Oh, that's all BS. We don't believe it. Oh, you're full of crap." It's nothing to do with that. We just, I mean, we're both paranormal investigators. We travel all over the country speaking and investigating, and you know, we're open-minded to the possibility of everything. I think what sets us aside is that we just tend to look at our evidence differently than most people do, and we just try to come across things more of with the skeptical point of view as opposed to just calling everything an orb or everything a ghost. We try to really look deep into the data to try to find answers. So
yeah.
So you don't believe in orbs? I'm sorry,
well, I mean, the ones in photos, see, there's just nothing there for me anyway that says, wow, that's a ghost. I mean, have I seen blue balls of light in even some of the photos I have? Sure. I have video shooting down a hallway that shows what appears to be a ball of light come out of one wall and do an S kind of move down the hallway and disappear through another wall. Was that a ghost? No, or, you know, could that have been a bug that just happened to come into my IR light at a specific time so it appeared to fade in and then it went out of the light and appeared to fade out? See, those kinds of things I can't differentiate between being a bug or a ghost. I mean, it sounds interesting. I've never seen one outside of a photo or a lens as far as a camera, and I've been investigating for 12 years, countless locations, and so I'm not saying I don't believe, I'm just saying my conclusion is kind of set aside right now until I have further evidence.
I saw Jesus in some toast one time.
A lot of people have.
I didn't sell it on eBay. I should have.
Orbs just seem to be the biggest way to start the major debate in the paranormal.
Oh yeah.
And we've posted pictures of snow, of breath in the cold, of fog, and just posted them as Christmas snow, fog rolling up a hill, blah, blah, blah. And you'd be amazed at the amount of people who insist there's angels and demons and great-grandma Esther in all of them.
You know, I used to do a thing when I would do my lectures. Haven't done this in a couple of years, but I used to take a spray bottle, and I'd be right up on the stage. I'd take a spray bottle of water, spray it up in the air, and then I'd take a flash photo, and I'd pass the camera around and show everyone that, you know, you got 30, quote, orbs in this photo. And I'm like, there you go. There's your paranormal orgy.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead.
I've been on ghost hunts. You know, like we investigated the San Carlos Hotel in downtown Phoenix, which is you had Cary Grant stay there, Marilyn Monroe. It's supposedly really haunted. And we happened to be setting up our investigation. We had this whole floor to ourselves. And some lady walks in and she goes, "Oh my gosh." She goes, "I didn't know you guys were here. And I'm so-and-so from I don't know, they do ghost tours or whatever." And she said, "Oh, well, I have a ghost tour coming through at such and such time. Can you hold off on your investigation for half an hour?" And I was like, "Well, we can." And she said, "Well, that'd be great. You guys can come with us on the tour." And I really wasn't into that. I was like, "Oh boy." But I went, and one of the planes in the basement is of this little boy or whatever. You know, people get pictures of orbs and whatnot. So you go into this basement, and sure enough, people are snapping pictures and looking at their cameras, and they're like, "Wow, look at all the spirits." And I was like, you know, I don't want to say anything, but at the same time, I'm sitting there keeping my mouth shut thinking, holy smokes, you know, what people believe is pretty amazing. And I think it's important to get out there and explain to people, you know, hey, not necessarily everything you can capture is a ghost, but these are people that usually don't investigate, and they're there to have a thrill. And so those kinds of people, you know what, let them believe what they want. And I think it's great. If it brings joy to their life, then wonderful. But when you start posting your stuff all over Facebook and circling it and zooming in, and, you know, it's like, gosh, man, you're really stretching there. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, the fog pictures we simply posted because we thought it was cool because the fog actually rolled up this very high peak. And normally it stays at the bottom. It was nothing paranormal. We were just showing it does happen.
And that digital photography and small drops of water don't work well. I mean, seriously, guys, we posted, and we've told this story 1,000 times, but I'll tell it again. I posted a picture on Facebook in an quote-unquote orb group. Okay? This is the other end of the spectrum. Okay? They're not, you know, absolute cynics and non-believers. These are the devout believers. These are the lemmings that will gladly jump off the cliff if the orb told them to. And I've posted a picture in there. It was taken in 20-degree weather with me smoking a cigarette outside in a snowstorm. Okay? And I put underneath there, smoking outside in cold weather, snowing. There's 14 people that hit after with comments. "Oh my God, can you see the Archangel Michael in the one up above the right? Oh my God, do you see all the ectoplasm on the bottom of the screen?" And the only thing I typed back in there was facepalm. I mean, because you can't, you know, you guys have done your show long enough to know that you get a true absolute believer on there, they will argue until their last breath.
Oh yeah.
You know, and you can't explain.
We don't usually get a lot of debates though on our show. I mean, a lot of times Joe and I don't even have guests. We're pretty good at carrying a show. I mean, we do occasionally, but the people we've had on, they don't usually debate a lot of stuff. So I guess I'm pretty thankful for that.
Well, we haven't really had any guests that want to debate. It's just Facebook.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the worst right there. Facebook is the devil. Because, you know, I don't know how many people I've been blocked by, because, you see these photos, and someone, I was talking about this just the other night, someone posted a photo one time, and said they were out in a cemetery. It had rained that morning, but it wasn't raining when they were out there. And there's all these orbs, and, they said, what do you guys think? right there, you open that up, get ready. And, most people were very polite about it, but they were giving out logical explanations. And I did the same thing, and I said something about, checking for moisture. And I pretty much got called every name in the book and was deleted and talked about for a while. So I was like, you know what? Have fun.
Yeah, I don't, people, while I would love to be able to say that there will be paranormal unity one day, there never will be. I try to preach paranormal tolerance, because tolerance is basically just knowing when to shut up. If we had paranormal tolerance, Facebook would not be making billions of dollars in advertising, because there wouldn't be any drama, there'd be no traffic on the site. If everybody just shut up.
Yeah.
But that'll never
Well,
happen.
I don't think it's possible to unify everybody, but I do think paranormal unity is possible in small groups.
Yes.
If you want to use the word unity as a cliche, so to speak. But, I mean, there's nothing wrong with finding 2, 3 local groups or even friends of yours that investigate, and you network together. Perhaps you're lucky enough to be close enough to investigate some locations together, share your data together, toss around ideas. I think that's what it's about. But there's no way to bring everybody together, because there's just too many people. Either their egos are inflated, they think they know it all, they have a right and wrong way, and they don't like the way you do things, and it's just not possible. So keep it small and simple, and I think that's the key to everything.
Yeah, well, the event we had at OSPH.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think overall there is paranormal unity. I think that it's just the handful of drama mamas make it seem like there's a whole lot more out there causing trouble, and there really isn't. Eric and I have probably investigated with probably 50 teams roughly, and we've never had a problem. We've gotten along with everybody, shared back and forth, became really good friends.
Maybe I scared them a little bit.
Well, no.
But there's one other thing too, guys. Like this will show you how our viewers here are on PEMA TV. Lady V in our chat room says when we were talking about paranormal unity and tolerance, she said on the other hand she would rather promote paranormal death matches.
We'd sell more tickets.
And you know what? Right now, the first thing that crossed through my mind is like Chip Coffey and John Zaffis in a claymation death match. I don't know why that's what went through my head.
That would be cool,
Chip
though.
Coffey, huh?
Well, the scarves?
I would
With the
think Chip
scarf?
Coffey would probably be better matched. Chip Coffey would be better matched with, who's the guy that did, what's that old British show, Joe?
Oh.
Benny Hill?
No. British paranormal show. Like, will you move the table across the room for us?
Oh.
Most haunted.
Most haunted, yeah.
Yes.
No. What's the psychic's name though? I can't remember off the top of my head.
I have no idea.
I don't remember his name.
Anyway, I think he'd be better matched with Chip Coffey.
Yeah, but you could sew Derek Acora.
There you go.
Yeah.
Lady V got that one.
That's-
2 points.
Two PEMA points
That
for
would
Lady
that would
V.
make for great TV if you're like, well, Derek, right hook to the chin of Chip Coffey, and Chip would be like, oh, you hit me, and Derek would say, well, you should have saw it coming, the psychic.
Yeah, but then Chip would take off his scarf
Yeah, that's what I'm
and
saying.
put him in a stranglehold.
He'd be like Spawn out there with that scarf. You know, the ends of that scarf would be coming out grabbing a hold of people.
Yeah, that's all good. Chip's actually, if you ever met him in person, Chip's actually a very nice guy.
We've interviewed Chip, yes, and he is a gentleman by all stretches, by every mean of the words.
We've met him a few times.
Yeah.
He's a riot. We love Chip.
Yeah, he's funny.
So, on the skeptical edge, what's the one thing you really, really want people to be able to take away from your show every week?
A smile.
Nice.
Yeah. You know what? Honestly, that's a hard one. We want people to be educated, and that's part of what we do. We do a lot of educating of what we know. Not saying that it's gospel, but to what we know. But you know what? We also want people to have fun, and that's what Kale and I do. Is we try to entertain at the same time having these discussions and interact in the chat room with the listeners if they have questions or they even have topics that they brought up during the show that they'd want us to talk about. So I think it's just all about getting along.
Right.
Well, I think the essentials of learning anything. I went to college, trust me, I had professors that would put you to sleep 15 minutes into their class, and you just don't retain information. It's not enjoyable. Going to class seemed like a chore. But then I remember having a chemistry teacher that was a lot of fun, and he would crack jokes and he'd blow things up in the classroom and just have a lot of fun. And, I looked forward to that class every week. I was like, I can't wait till chemistry. What are we going to blow up today? Or, it was always something fun, and I think the same applies to any type of show. If you can't bring your listeners some kind of entertainment and make them smile and laugh at the same time, bring some informative information their way, well, they're going to keep coming back because the show's, it's entertainment, and people like that. And that's why I said, I want people to walk away with a smile and think, gosh, those guys are funny. I love that show.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We need to get you guys over here on PEN because that's what we've been trying to do since we went on air. We're trying to make people think. I've told people before, I don't care if I have millions and millions or millions of viewers. I'd rather have 1,000 people that think come and watch me. You know what I mean? Because those 1,000 people that think are going to be the ones that take action.
You know what?
Well, absolutely, and I think it's a matter of having fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can always have fun and bring a good time to stuff. It's just you, like you said, you want people to think. You want them to be entertained. You want them to stick around. You want them to want to come back, but you also want them to be able to take something away and something to think about until the next show. So
I totally agree.
Yeah. And that's what I tell people, because I'm even more skeptical than Kale is. But and it's when we're out speaking or even doing our show, we don't want people to become non-believers. We don't want people to become believers. We just want people to become thinkers.
Amen. You guys have no idea how refreshing it is to hear somebody other than us say that. It's it's refreshing.
Well, I think that's what it really boils down to is when you look at the majority of groups out there, and I'm not saying all of them, but I will say the vast majority of groups, if you really sit down and have a conversation with them, and you say, well, how long have you been investigating? They're like, well, I started investigating, it's been about 10 years now, but if you really tell somebody out of all that time you spent thousands of dollars in equipment and all the trips you've taken and hotels and everything you could possibly imagine, what did you come away with? Oh, well, man, I've got, I don't know, half a dozen, maybe 100 EVPs, and they got some great photos, and, well, what are you going to do with that? And people are like, well, what do you mean? Well, have you ever wondered why you got that kind of information, and why you got that photo, and why was that EVP so whispery? And most people don't think beyond anything. They just listen to their audio, and they're like, well, I got an EVP, and that's it.
It's guaranteed to kill a mouse. Just push down the lever, and it does the rest. Nothing to see, nothing to touch. You just throw it away.
I'm not sure what that is.
Hello.
Wow, that was weird.
What are you watching, Joe?
I don't. You know what? It had to have been on something on mine because it just booted me out of the chat room.
Wow.
Well, anyway,
he called that 900 number.
So.
He called
that. What got me to dive deeper into this was, I tend to be kind of a techie kind of guy. Like I said, I'm an engineer. Mechanical, though. I design and develop things, but at the same time, I still have to have a solution to every problem. I have to figure things out. So I have to think very analytically about certain problems that may arise and how things are going to operate in their, what their function is going to be farther down the process or down an assembly line. So I would get this EVP, and I immediately came home and said, why didn't I hear that? Why did this audio recorder pick that up, but I couldn't hear it when it happened? It has to be at some lower frequency or something. And I didn't know much about investigating, so that's when I started really reading and doing research on frequency ranges. And then that's when I said, the human range of hearing is, between 300 and 3,500, or the range of hearing is 20 to 20,000 hertz. Human speaks at 300 to 3,500, but this EVP was at 65 hertz.
Mm-hmm.
and then I started looking at, what range did the audio recorder record at? So then I started really paying attention to the frequency ranges of the EVPs I was capturing. And as I started to notice that the majority of them fell into the ELF range, I started thinking about, well, man, I bet you, I could design or develop or even build a piece of equipment that will better enable me to capture EVPs. And maybe if I can find this sweet spot frequency, if it does exist, maybe I might find an answer there. So I started diving deeper into the data, just like pictures. There's a lot that goes into photography, shutter speed, different variables, different cameras, lighting, settings. There used to be a point in time where you could take a digital photo and you could have a program that looked at the exit data. And that could tell me what time it was taken, what kind of camera was taken on the shutter speed, everything that I could possibly want to know about that photo. It would also tell me, this photo has been in Photoshop, it's been so it was pretty easy to differentiate between fact and BS. But nowadays, it's becoming so hard because now there's even programs out there that you can edit the exit data. So for me, photography, you want to walk around investigations, you want to take your initial shot, your control shot, and all this stuff. But for me, it doesn't stand up to a healthy debate because now it's so easy to fake so much of this stuff. I think the only real thing left that is hard to really debate is the audio, and I think any investigator will tell you 90% of the evidence they capture is audio. So that's why I'm trying to stick with that right now, and then maybe when I get bored I'll move on to video, but I'm pretty stuck on the frequency thing.
Yeah, I know we've a lot of our friends, especially in the very serious researchers that are our friends. We have some friends that are tourists, and we have some friends that are very serious researchers. They're past the something's out there. They're trying to explain the phenomena, the how, the why. A lot of people are still just amazed that they can record it.
Mm-hmm.
There's an expanding and ever-growing group of us that are moving kind of past the how can I say this? Past the ghost hunter stage. We're kind of past we know weird stuff's out there. We've got anomalous data that we can't explain. How did it get caused? Why and how? And those are two very short words that are very difficult for a lot of people to put their head around.
Sure.
And we've been involved with Tim Rancorn and his work with the whole RVPR setup, and which is based off the fact that a dynamic mic is EMF sensitive, and a condenser mic is basically EMF deaf. So if you have a setup, basically it's a setup that records with both at the same time. That way, if you record something on only the dynamic and not the condenser, it's possible that it was caused strictly by an EMF manipulation, which corresponds with the theory that all EVPs, all electronic voice phenomena, are EMF, are functions of EMF. But that's the theory.
Sure.
But we've done work with those guys, and we've done some work with some people on the spiritual side too. I don't discount the metaphysical side, because if the metaphysical was so easy to debunk and disprove and you can't believe in it, why the hell has it been around for 3,000 years?
I agree with that.
Good point.
I got a huge rotten head or basketball for a head, so if it doesn't have a little bit of brains in it, it's a waste of space. But I know there's been a lot smarter people than me on the planet that could have, if it was so fake, how can you discount it? Now there's charlatans and fakes and everything. We know that.
Well, there's scam artists on every corner, whether they're selling you a lemon of a car or trying to screw you out of milking your bank account for money. I think as far as this field, there probably wasn't a lot of, maybe back in the day when you think about, when they used to free tea leaves and all that stuff, and what are the Fox sisters? Is that them, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've always had your charlatans out there for years and years, but I think that the average hardcore investigator was doing this, far before ghost hunters came along, and I think perhaps back then there wasn't a lot of people faking anything because they had nothing to gain. But nowadays it seems like, you know, a lot of people, as groups spring up, everybody wants to show, everybody wants to be famous, everybody wants to be on my ghost story. So I'm not saying everybody's dishonest, but unfortunately you get a lot of people out there that are willing to hide their evidence or manipulate it in such a way that they'll be recognized. But we don't do that, you know. We're pretty much, we keep it real, and, you know, no BS. I think our biggest thing that we have, like, you know, we laugh because, you know, we do a lot of conventions, and you look at people's banners, as seen on Bio, as seen on Travel Channel, as seen on this, and as seen on that. And at the same time, we laughed at it. Was it Mid-South Joe? We looked over, and somebody had their banner as seen on YouTube, and I was like, man, you're desperate. And I think I even got up and I grabbed my phone and I said, hold on, just say something. I'm going to record you really quick. We're going to put that on in 5 minutes. You can put a scene on YouTube on your banner. But our running joke is as seen on the freeway driving to work at 6 a.m. as seen here, you know.
Seen at the grocery store in the produce department.
Well, it's like Kale, you know, Kale and I want to list every state we've ever been in on our banner for conventions, so we can be seen as, you know, as seen in Arizona, in Wisconsin, you know.
Intoxication.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't know, you know, and Kale, like what you were saying with the, you know, I don't think that there's as much or as many people out there faking their evidence as there is the people that are just kind of turning that blind eye. I just don't think that they're going through their data that they've collected well enough, because it's just easier to say, ooh, look what we got. Yeah. You know, it all the cool kids are not as they, you know, made for TV word debunking their evidence. That's not what the cool kids are doing.
Well, yeah, and you mean you can't go on a ghost hunt and go through all your evidence in an hour? Oh, what the hell?
You know what? I've known people that have listened to their audio while they're cleaning the house.
Right? Oh my God! I was vacuuming with a Hoover, and I heard J. Edgar Hoover. Yeah, I
Really, you went there?
I had to.
Ugh.
But I mean, a perfect example of what you guys are talking about, Kim and I have personally experienced at the Hen House meet and greet 2 years ago.
Yeah, there was that.
I mean, now I think you guys will agree the Paranormal Field has kept the business card, the trifold, the banner, the T-shirt, and the trucker cap industry in business. Plus energy drink people have kept them in business for the last at least 5 years. But we went to Hen House. There was a team there that had a pavilion. They had an 8 or 10 foot little Walmart table. They had I think it was a 12 camera DVR setup that they had laid out on this table. They had, I think, 6 digital voice recorders. They had an SLR. They had a couple of smaller.
They had 8 of something.
Digital cameras.
Oh, eight of the ghost boxes.
Yeah, 8 different ghost boxes laying around. You know, various other stuff on this table. And you walked up to them and you talked to them, and they said, I said, you know, this is a pretty impressive amount of equipment you got right here. And the first, you know, how many investigations have you guys done? They said, you know what? We just got all our stuff here. Oh, by the way, here, have a trifold and a business card.
And we're doing our first investigation tonight.
Yeah, tonight. Yeah, we're excited.
Well, at least to get their gear together, I guess, first. I don't know. But, I mean, everybody's got to start somewhere. You know what I mean?
But, I mean, that's just...
No, I think it's fine. I think we all started somewhere. So I think that's a beautiful thing to see people out there investigating and getting involved and getting started. At the same time, I don't agree with the people that are just getting started and jump right into doing residential cases. I think you open yourself up to a mess and you find yourself facing questions that you don't have answers for, and then the next group that has been doing it for a while has to come in and clean up the mess and listen to the horror stories, and it's just kind of bad. But our group here, which I really enjoy doing, like tomorrow actually, we have a library presentation. We have a deal with the state library program around October, usually September, October, November. We do these library presentations, and we have a whole PowerPoint we do, and they're free, and they're open to the public, and it's pretty much a ghost hunting 101. I don't sit there and pretty much tell people the right and wrong way to do things, but it's more or less how to go about forming a group, how to go through your evidence. I do go through the right and wrong way to take photos. You know, don't take photos in the snow, the rain, just common sense kind of stuff like that. But the turnout that we get, I mean, we've had 170 people come to some of these.
Wow.
We've had more. We've had people come to whole conference rooms, and they had to turn them away because there was too many people in the room for the fire code. But, you know, I love doing these presentations because we get an influx of people that come up after the presentation. And, you know, we lay out our equipment because people want to see what you use. You know, the average person that comes to this, they don't know anything about it. Maybe they watch the shows and they want to see some of the gear. But we get a lot of people that want to come up and show you their pictures, and they need your advice, or they need this or that. And I think that's what's rewarding, is meeting all these wonderful people that are really interested. They have a drive to want to learn more and to perhaps get out there. And so I think the only way you're going to weed out some of these goofball people out there is through education. And that's why we kind of do these presentations around the state. But like I said, we don't make any money for them. They're free presentations, but, you know, you and I and Joe, we all know how expensive this hobby is, and it is a hobby, well, for some. But so if somebody's selling some shirts or whatever to kind of offset the cost of doing something, well, I don't blame them for that necessarily. It's the people that go on my ghost story one time, never having investigated a single place, and suddenly they're on this paranormal convention circuit, traveling all around the country and speaking to people about the paranormal. It's like, well, dude, you were on one show. What are you know what I mean?
Well,
so I don't know.
Joe, and I have to ask you guys this, if you would, when you have your next banner made, please, on the very bottom of it, put "as seen on PEN." Please put that on
Hell
the bottom.
yeah.
Can you put that on the bottom of your banner? That would rock.
We can do that.
You know, I think it's great that
We have that on our banner. Of course, it's on the backside in a Sharpie, but
yeah,
it does say "as seen on PEN." Yeah.
You know, I think it's great that more people are getting involved. I do think, and it is a very rare occurrence, but I do think there are certain situations or locations that not every team should get involved in, and that's the problem. Is you don't want to see people get hurt, because those are truly horror stories. We've known people that have taken things home with them, and it's changed their lives. You know, there are things involved in this. There are parts of this that get into kind of the gray area, whether you believe or not. You know, there's people that act one way up until it's an investigation. After that investigation, they act something entirely different, and there's no radon gas or fumes or anything else involved. So when you start narrowing down knocking out the logical reasons, you start to run out of fewer and fewer things. And we've seen that happen to people. That's why it's so important that people have to be in the right mindset to do this too. That's something else that's important, in my very humble opinion.
No, I totally agree. You do see a lot of that, and you know, when Joe says he's a lot more skeptical of me, I mean, it doesn't mean he's not open-minded. It just means that perhaps, you know, and it's not a matter of experience. I just happen to be at places that perhaps were maybe just active that night, and I had certain experiences that Joe just hasn't had yet. So, like I said, I know Joe. He'll tell you he's open-minded to having experiences. At the same time, you got your whole set of people out there that'll say, well, it's not possible for spirits to follow you home. And I think that's all crap. Well, at the same time, how can you come to that conclusion when you have no way of proving it?
Right.
Other than I can go based upon my own personal experience of dealing with that exact same thing. I mean, one of the things I always say and I laugh about is I was never haunted until I started to investigate. And I have no doubt in my mind when I have a family giving me certain claims of what's going on in their house, and 2 days later I start having the same crap going on in my house, only to call the client, and the client says, well, things have been dead. I don't know. It's like it's not here anymore. And then within 2 weeks, all of a sudden everything stops in my house, and suddenly the client's calling me the next day saying, I think it's back. That's pretty ironic. I've also had something very negative follow me home. That's not an experience. I hear people say, "Oh, I wish I could have that experience." No, you really don't, because I mean, I would almost bet, and Joe knows how much I love my children. I will swear on the lives of my children that I believe that I am still dealing with that.
Yeah.
I don't think it has ever truly left my house, or I just started having a really, really bad run of luck of things that started taking place in my life, my personal life, my home, and everything following this investigation, and it scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, I mean,
I think though after experiencing that now, I will admit I think I was a little uneducated about such matters, and the first thing I did, I didn't run out and call priests and all that stuff. I dove into books, which is what I know how to do, and I started researching and studying and how am I going to deal with this, and I took it into my own hands to educate myself and empower myself so that I was better prepared to deal with something like that.
And people have to do that. You have to know how to protect yourself. You have to know how to protect your group, especially if you're the leader of a group. See, that's the other thing that about the situation that we're dealing with all the new investigators is you have a group of people that are just the nature of a group dynamic. They're going to look to one person. They're going to look for a leader. And if the leader don't know. The leader's not smart enough to go ask, well, then the whole group is subject to have major problems. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about that. The leader and founder of our paranormal group is sitting right next to me, and she is never wrong. She thought she was once, but she was mistaken.
Yep.
Well, and like I said, to each his own. One of the funniest things I think ever happened was. Like I said, I'm pretty outgoing, I have a good sense of humor, and we just decided we were going to do this investigation up at a place called Vulture Mine here, up by Kingman, Arizona. And so what we did is we called 3, 4, 5 different groups and invited them all up to this joint investigation. I didn't know these people, everybody got a name tag. I think I put Zeus on mine, and somebody else on my team put God on theirs. I don't know. But, I happened to, we're sitting there, and I happened to look across this big dirt parking lot, and I see about 15 people standing around holding hands in this big circle, and I was like, what the hell are they doing? And I figured, well, they're doing a blessing or whatever, and I thought, well, that's good. But then I'm sitting there, and the guy comes over, and what I heard in my head is, does anybody want to be saved? And I was like, what? I kind of looked at the guy, and I was like, no thanks, man, that's okay, but thank you. And he goes, all right. And he walked away, and I looked at a team member and was like, I think they just asked me if I wanted to be freaking saved. And she goes, no, I think he meant saged. I was like, oh, I thought he said, do you want to be saved? But, I mean, to each his own, and I think it's great if you believe in saying a prayer before an investigation or saging yourself or whatever it is you go through, if you believe it in your mind, I think it'll work for you. So...
Yeah, it's all about your confidence.
Well, see, but that works in pretty much everything. Because, I mean, a lot of us walk around with crystals or the sage or...
Sure.
Pendants, medallions, amulets, what have you. Old ladies in bingo have their trolls.
Yeah, well, and you can believe in the flying spaghetti monster if you want to. You could be a pastafarian. And if that's what makes you grounded, makes you feel centered, and makes you feel strong and protected, then rock on. Who am I to judge?
Enter term, not necessarily paranormal immunity, but paranormal tolerance.
Exactly.
Now, see, Kale, that means you can't give me any more crap about carrying around a monster can all the time.
I was just going to even say Joe carries around a monster for protection.
Well, you can fit a lot of spirits in there. It's a big can. You can fit a lot of spirits in there. You just got to shove them in there.
I'm waiting for Joe. Joe, it's Halloween. You need to take a picture of a monster can. You need to put, can with a monster in it. We'll sell for $2.
And put it on eBay.
Okay, guys. I just had a $1 million idea, and I will share this with all with both of you guys.
That idea's been out there.
No. For all the missing paranormal investigators, we could get them to put their picture on the monster cans.
There you go.
That's $1 million idea right there.
Or the back of a coffee cup.
Have you seen this paranormal investigator and put somebody's picture up there?
On the back of Dunkin' Donut or Starbucks coffee cups, too.
Wow. Yeah, but see,
You know what? I will be on Photoshop tomorrow.
nice. I think
And
that's
you're going to be the one missing.
That's fine. That's fine. But I mean, that would be that how you want to find kids. What do kids need? Kids need milk. You want to talk paranormal investigators? They need either coffee or energy drinks. And getting people to put your picture on Maxwell. I guess we could try to do it with Maxwell House too.
I want a coffee sponsor.
Right? Except for that.
There you go, Joe. You can put my picture on there.
Except for the cat poop coffee. I don't really want to be associated with that cat poop coffee. The civet coffee or whatever it is. It's like $9,000 an ounce or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's not cat poop. I can't remember what it is. It's some kind of.
It's like a weasel. It's like a weasel or something.
I don't know. That's right up there with booze though too. So
yeah,
it's called a something cat, but it's not a cat.
Civet or whatever. It's like a big weasel. Anyway, I'm just saying that would be a great idea. And I know you guys had both just mentioned about something very important about people. And how important it is, how great it is to see new people get involved in the field. Personally, and I'd like your opinions on this, I think that no matter what equipment we have, this field still boils down to the people.
The best tool you have in your equipment case is it's not any kind of gear you're carrying, it's your mind.
Yep. I totally agree. And the second most important thing you'll carry is a pencil and a piece of paper. But a lot of people don't understand that either.
Well, people also need to realize that the most harmful thing you carry in your bag is also your mind. So you can make some pretty bad choices, and hence that's why I guess what kind of drove me to start doing a lot of these presentations. It wasn't so much that because I've done so many residentials that time and time and time again we'd get these calls. Well, we had this group in here, and they told us we had demons, and and now the family's terrified. They're not living in their house, and I'm sitting there thinking, God damn it. When are you going to come into somebody's home and tell them this kind of crap? Fill their head full of garbage. And now they're so scared. They're ready to move, ready to, uplift their whole life, take their kids out of school and move somewhere else. That's horrible. It partly was that. And the other thing was I started seeing this influx of people breaking into buildings. Yeah. And suddenly you'll hear, boy hunts ghost, dies from fall.
Yep.
People going to locations and dying because they're doing things they probably shouldn't be doing, going into abandoned buildings. Maybe a stairwell collapses and they fall to their death. I mean, when people start dying and people's lives are getting damaged, well, that's a pretty big reason to get out there and try to start educating people. And I really wish I could see more and more groups doing that. Well, get out there and try to help people and try to guide them and just show them, don't go into an abandoned building. If you investigate with 3 or more people. That way, if somebody does get hurt, somebody can stay with them while the third person goes and gets help. Don't wander off by yourself. Just the common sense stuff.
Well, we had discussed this on a show a while back about parapolicing. You're out one night, Saturday night, say you're not necessarily on an investigation, you're out to dinner with your wife, your girlfriend, what have you, and you go by a cemetery and you see a bunch of kids playing around in there. They get into this whole debate on whether or not to call the cops. Of course call the cops. If they don't have permission and they're playing around the cemetery, they're up to no good. So how many...
Yeah, perhaps, but I mean, that's typical kid stuff going into cemeteries, but
yes,
I mean...
but if they're out there damaging stuff, or like there were a group of kids up in the Northeast somewhere who had broke into a building like you were talking about, and the cops showed up, and when the cops showed up, they all took off running. 2 of them, a guy and a girl, had run around the back, not realizing it was a cliff, and actually ran off it and killed themselves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, see, it's terrible.
So, I mean, if you see
someone... That's the kind of thing that needs to stop.
Parapolicing, I mean, if you happen to know that someone's up there and doesn't have permission, or see that something's broken into, let let someone know. I mean, don't just assume, oh, well, the cops will find out. These kids could have been saved.
Yeah. And see, that's something else too. Is a lot of the pay to hunt places. We are personally involved with OSPH, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital in Tennessee. Anything that they charge goes back into maintaining the hospital or being able to maintain the experience that you have there. They're not a for-profit setup. They're not making a huge chunk of change running this thing. And the reason I mention that is there are other locations that sink absolutely no money into the location, get progressively more dangerous to go into, and they don't do anything to fix it.
Well, and they charge astronomically too.
Yeah.
I mean, OSPH, what is it? It's something like $60, $70 a person for an overnight, compared to some of these places that are $2,000, a minimum of 10 people, and you get 4 hours. Go.
Well, see, and you know what? I think that's one of the major issues that we have now is because these places, because they can charge that much, because there's such a paranormal hype, so to say. I don't know. Kale and I are not big into the big paid haunts.
Yeah. Well, neither are Kim and I. The great thing about OSPH is it's such a research facility because it's safe to be in. It's structurally sound to be inside.
Well, and when you reserve it for your group, that's who's in there. It's not six other groups or, 12 events going on. When you reserve it, it's yours.
It's actually as close to a research facility as we have because you can go there and go back to the same rooms.
Same conditions.
And you're going to have the same conditions. You can control the variables that way. That's why we love being associated with those guys. I was going to ask.
Well, Joe and I actually met somebody. Well, I can't remember if it was Mid-South. The guy, I had to tip my hat to him. Now, he was into filming documentaries at locations, but his way of getting into the locations was he would say, hey, I want to film a documentary here, sell it on DVD or whatever, and by you letting me film here, I'm going to cut you in for half the proceeds of the DVD sales, and that money can go back into restoring your location. I thought, that's a really good idea,
Yeah.
I mean, I had to tip my hat to him. Most people just want to go film and they leave. But this guy was all, also about, hey, I'm getting what I need, and at the same time, I'm helping you out. And I thought, well, that's pretty nice. I thought that was a good idea.
Yeah.
At the same time, I looked at
you can put money. Anytime you can put money back into that location, it to me that's a good cause, and I don't mind doing that kind of stuff. But like you guys were saying, there's places that charge $2,000. Right. I'm sorry, that's just nuts.
Especially when they're not even sweeping the floors or making sure the piles of lumber are out of the middle of the floor so someone can't trip over them.
Yeah, and they don't have any missing pictures on the monster cans they're selling you for $12 a pop. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I have to ask you guys this too. What do you guys feel about the huge celebrity costs that are out there now? I mean, that's something that everybody sees. I just wanted your opinion. Where they charge. Well, for $500, you can come ghost hunt with all these guys, and as seen on YouTube.
See, that's
I don't know. I don't agree with it, but
yeah, I mean, I don't see why any place would charge a few $100s just to go investigate with these people, because and I have seen them, and I've known people that have gone on them. You really don't get that one-on-one experience because now you're with a group of groupies. So I don't know. To me, that's crazy, but I guess people are going to find a way to make money.
Yeah. Well,
sure.
Yeah, and don't get us wrong. I mean, we have some very, very good friends that are on the circuit. I mean, you guys know John Tenney?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very good dear friend of ours. We've met John several times. Never had a chance to actually go paranormal investigate with him, but we've talked for hours at a time about it.
Aaron Houdini.
Of
course, I stole his baby a month ago. Yeah.
I mean, we know some of these guys that are that take part in some of these celebrity hunts, and I do not fault them at all. And I don't fault the people that are paying them. But to me, if I'm going to pay $500 to go ghost hunt with the entire crew from GH, it better be just me and the crew from GH, but it's not. Like you said, it's going to be the group. It's going to be half of the group from GH and about 30 people. Now, if you've ever been in a group of 30 people, you know that the human body cannot stop emitting gases, whether it's sneezing, breathing, coughing, farting, belching. It just doesn't happen. So right away, even if you did record some data, you might as well just throw it in the trash because it's not going to be worth anything.
Yeah.
So
well, a lot of these people, though, that go on these paid deals, too, I mean, the majority of them aren't paranormal investigators. They're just fans of the show, and they got an opportunity to go meet somebody. And so, you know, I understand. I mean, Joe and I know a few of these people, and we know what the average person gets paid per episode, and it's actually minuscule when you figure out how many episodes they do a year and how much they get paid per episode. So in between seasons, a lot of these people that are on the shows still go to conventions and stuff where they can make some of that side money, and I can understand that. So I don't necessarily agree with places charging $1,000, $1,500, whatever it is, but at the same time, these places are booked up every weekend. So there's obviously a need for that. People, perhaps they don't want to investigate. They just want to go have a one-night thrill, and you know, it brings joy to their lives. So for that, I don't wrong them. Just like I don't really rag on the shows too much because one of the biggest things I always argue is I never see anything before the show that says everything you're about to see is real and factual, and at no point was anything fake. So, I mean, that's, you know, it's television, it's entertainment first and foremost. They need to have ratings. If you think they're not faking things, well, then, you know, you're a fool. I think my biggest issue with the shows are, like I said, I've investigated some really amazing places, and I think we all have that one or two really secret kind of locations that we cherish and value. And what really bothers me is, for me, Vulture Mine was one of those places, and as soon as it was on Ghost Adventures, the place was ruined. People started breaking in, vandalizing, stealing things. So on that aspect, I don't know. I thought that was pretty crappy, but I don't know. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like the Haunted Collector. A lot of these paranormal locations have decided to get the extra rating. You know, people coming in, they're going to get on this TV show. Well, if he's removing the spirits, there's no point in going.
Well, I don't think there's any proof that the spirit was ever moved, but I mean, it's television. So.
He's removing the item that it's supposed to be attached to, so technically if he's removing the item, and then at the end of the show they're posting they've had no more paranormal activity or no more disruptions since, you've done ruined the location. Yeah.
Why would I want to go?
Why do I want to spend the $75 to go there if there's nothing there? Because it's over at John Zaffis's house.
Yeah. What's the point?
But on the other side of the argument, you know, you see some of these businesses or restaurants that were hurting and about to close their doors because they didn't have any money, and so perhaps their restaurant or business was seen on ghost hunters, and all of a sudden they have an influx of business, and it saves their business.
And there have been historical locations that the paranormal community has saved. I will not argue that with you.
I'm not arguing that at all. I'm not talking about the regular shows. I'm talking about the one where they're actually claiming to remove the spirits. There's been a few locations that were popular in the ghost hunting circle, or paranormal circle, that were really popular and people were wanting to get into, but then John Zaffis picks up the pocket watch and puts it in his museum.
So why do you want to go? Why do you want to pay money to go someplace that's been cleaned already?
Yeah, that man has to have the most haunted house in America.
Right.
You know, you're probably right, Joe.
Just saying.
I'm just saying he's probably going to end up on a monster can. I'm just saying.
The only thing left are his glasses inside one of those little glass domes.
Right. And all you see is one little arm of his glasses sticking out the top of the monster can.
Yeah, well, the each his own. I don't watch a lot of the shows. I mean, Joe's probably more up to date on a lot of the shows than I am. So
They haven't
I
changed.
tend to if it airs on, usually if Ghost Adventures airs, if you just type into YouTube Ghost Adventures Season 7 Episode 1, boom, the whole thing will be there in its entirety, maybe a day or two after it's on TV. So I don't know. I work so much, and I've got a family, and I just don't have a lot of time to dedicate to the shows. But they're there, and people obviously they find them enjoyable because the ratings are there. So
yeah, but you're not missing a lot. It's like soap operas, man. You can not watch a soap opera for 2 years and watch 20 minutes of it, and you're caught right back up where you were at. They're the same. It's people walking around in the dark asking questions.
Well, retroverting back a little bit, when you were saying the longer you investigate, you start to get away from certain things. That's kind of something that Joe and I speak about, and I do believe that's true. You start your investigation. I don't know, like a mission, I guess, in your life. You're starting this journey into investigating. Well, you investigate for so long, you do so many residences and everything else that perhaps at some time you do move on to the data. And you start paying more attention to trying to find answers to your evidence than you do investigating. But I think at the end of the day, through all your years of investigating, if anybody says, well, what have you gained in all these years of investigating, I think the best answer, and it is true, that the journey becomes a journey into oneself and one's spirituality. You start learning more about yourself and your own spirituality than you do anything else. And, maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing for people to get in touch with their spirituality a little bit more, because last time I checked, there's a bunch of assholes in this freaking country, and it's only getting worse. So perhaps it's not necessarily, there's always something good that comes out of something negative. And, if I can get out there and bring a smile to somebody's face, whether it be through doing the radio show or help somebody along that path of finding their own spiritual journey, then I go to sleep with a clear head and a smile on my face, and it's all been worthwhile.
I agree.
He's going to sleep with a smile on his face because the monster wore off.
Yeah, well, that's true. But one thing too, guys, I want you guys, when we try to set this up next year, because I think we are going to try to set one up next year. We've sponsored a investigation at OSPH. It was an invitation only type situation, but the people that we invited were, how can I put this? They were paracelebs to a certain degree, but they were the type of people that we've seen go to large investigations, and they don't get to investigate. They were sheep herders, because there were 20 people walking around behind them. Matt, why are you doing that? Matt, why are you doing that? Now that's not a bad thing. That's a funny way of me saying it, but that's not a bad thing. But these guys, over time, you go to 4 or 5 events like that, and you start wondering why you're doing it, because what you're trying to do, you're not able to do, because you are mentoring, you're teaching these people all the time. So the people that we invited to this invitational, and it was over the entire weekend. The people that we invited were people that didn't get to investigate again. And to watch that group of experienced investigators get recharged again about what they were doing, because it was a free-for-all for them.
They didn't have to teach
They
anybody.
didn't have to teach anybody.
They have to wait for any group to get out of the bathroom or...
And when they paired up with somebody they'd never been with, they didn't have to worry about that person being a professional or not. When we get a date set next year, I would love to be able to have you guys come join us if you would honor us with that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we'll be there.
Because
I think the biggest thing, I see a lot of... Yeah, thank you. I see a lot of these big things, at events, and tonight there's going to be a ghost hunt, and yeah, you're right, you get a lot of a whole group of people running around doing this and that, but I think the biggest thing that's missing in all of these things is I never see it. I would be the one, if I was hosting an event and there was going to be a ghost hunt, let's say in that location. Let's just, Joe, as an example, let's use a First Ward schoolhouse. I would want to know, okay, I'd have everybody, who all's going to be on the ghost hunt? We're going to have a mandatory meeting, everybody on the, in the, whatever, the vendor hall or whatever, and everybody that's going to be on that investigation that night, I would go over protocols. And I explain to people, a lot of you probably have been on investigations, so this is kind of redundant, but some of you haven't. There's certain protocols we need to follow. You know, if you make a noise, if you move, just say that was me. Just certain things that they should know, and so you can avoid a lot of that. People just walking around whispering, breathing all over the place, whatever it may be. I think that would be pretty beneficial to, you know, an actual group investigation.
Well, no, it was, and that was the great thing about that weekend that we had is there's some people that for a long time they hadn't even, when they went to an event or to an investigation,
Well,
they didn't even bring their own equipment.
Everybody who was invited was a seasoned investigator, had been in different locations. They were from 5 different states, and there was only 18 of us in a 67,000 square foot building.
Yeah.
Locked in for the entire weekend. We fed them. OSPH has bedrooms, has showers, has bathrooms. No need to leave.
Yeah, that's the cool thing is you sleep in there.
But it wasn't some newbies or some people who were wet behind the ears still. Everybody had their own experiments they wanted to try. We had log sheets for everybody to log everything, and
We tried to do it the right way, but like I said, once again, the biggest thing that I took away, other than the fact, like you said, paranormal unity can happen in small groups. This is true. We've seen it. But the greatest thing, like I said, was to watch these guys recharge themselves. You know, they've gone and they've given presentations and they've talked and everything else, but to see them get that spark, you know, to see them go, well, you know, we could try this. And just the brainstorming sessions that happened, I mean, it was nice to see them recharge themselves like that again. Because that's, I think you guys will admit this too, when you stay involved in this field for any length of time, you go through peaks and valleys where your interest is high and your interest is low.
Yeah.
You know, and if it stays too low for too long, that's when you start seeing people, quote unquote, flake out or leave or just get tired of it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think my interest has ever really hit a low point other than if you investigate too much, you can get burnt out. I agree with that. If you get to the point that you're investigating so much that you're starting to get burnt, that means you're probably starting to get sloppy, and therefore you should probably take a break.
yep.
Yeah, but you guys are both powered by Monster, as seen on YouTube.
No, I drink Rockstar, Joe. Who's the Monster guy?
Oh, well, see, you've got
Yeah.
Rockstar and Monster. See, then you got it
Did
covered.
you not pay attention? Joe put on Facebook as seen on PPN.
Oh, gotcha.
I did. I posted it. Yeah, and Kale's a sellout. He went to Rockstar.
Yeah, well, at least it's not pimp juice. At least it's not pimp juice.
You know, I drink the Sugar Rockstar. I don't know. It's just the one I drink. Now, I'm not opposed to drinking Monster. I haven't, maybe because I'm just set in my ways. I need to start trying different flavors, I guess, maybe. I don't know. These energy drinks are so bad for you anyway. I've been really thinking I need to just stop drinking them altogether.
Don't be a quitter.
Yeah, don't be a quitter.
Quitter.
Nobody likes a quitter.
That's right.
You know, I did notice somebody put a post on one of the groups I'm on Facebook the other day, and they were talking about how when you go to paranormal, you know, or you go to an AA type meeting and they have a lot of coffee and donuts. I got to thinking, that's exactly like being on a paranormal team.
Yeah.
They've got really good coffee and really good donuts or snacks.
Yeah, but they're always sitting in the light.
Well, you know, I don't know. There's got to be a 12-step. Maybe that's what we need to do is have Monster or Rockstar sponsor a 12-step paranormal recovery program.
Yeah, good luck, because it's hard to get a sponsor.
I fail.
Kinds of people.
Well, you don't have to. You don't have to pass. It's not a pass or fail. It's a.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's a buy the sponsored stuff kind of thing right there. You know, but and if you up a few people, great.
It's hard to get a sponsorship of those kinds of people. Trust me. It's
Yeah.
I mean, we're affiliated with a couple different people, but would it be ideal to be sponsored by somebody like Monster or Rockstar? Heck yeah, but what people don't understand is the majority of these energy drink companies, they're into like the dirt bike riding experts and the professional sports player and the extreme sports and the skiers, and those are the kind of people they go after. When you just say, I'm Joe Bob from X group and I want you to sponsor me, well, like, you know, I mean, now granted, there might be one or two people out there that are sponsored. Chances are they probably know somebody, you know, that knows somebody that got them that sponsorship. But not every, it's a lot harder than people think just to have companies give you free stuff.
Now, technically, I think Monster, all the rest of the energy drinks, Maxwell House, Bolt Coffee. There are a few others. Should actually put a label on there saying sponsored by Paranormal Investigators, because we're paying their way.
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
I can't even. I got this bad visual of a Folgers commercial.
You can ask Kale. I go to every single event that I do with a 10-pack of Monster.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
He has the Monster logo tattooed on the back of his neck.
Well, you know, if you could ever get a marketing director from Monster and hand them a flashlight and like shove them into the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum and shut the door.
By the time he comes out, he'll
develop
sponsor
a whole new respect for what. If they think riding a dirt bike over hills is tough, try stumbling around.
Try breaking out of Alcatraz.
Yeah, or being in Eastern State, or walking around Fort Mifflin at night. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I think they sponsor these big people because that's where they get the most notice or recognition from, because these dirt bike races are seen by millions of people. Now, I guarantee if Jay or Grant or Zach or somebody went to Monster and said, hey, we want a sponsorship, well, they'd be all over it because they're on television.
Well, yeah.
So those kinds of people probably have a better chance at that kind of stuff. But I don't know. That's not really why we're in this field. But I just had this bad visual of seeing like Jay standing next to his coffee pot, and it's saying, "There's Folgers in your cup," and this freaking ghost zooms by him or something. I don't know.
Or like this big skeleton hand grabbing the coffee pot, pouring it into his cup. Yeah.
I think though everybody's seeing that commercial, they'd be like, "You freaking sellout."
I would own it proudly.
Yeah. Well, guys, as much as I hate to do this, what have you guys got coming up soon that our viewers need to know about? We're getting a little over, and I got to...
And where can they hear you?
Yeah.
Well, we have a radio show tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, on ztalkradio.com. And join the chat room. Come on in, and we'll make you a member. And it's a 2-hour show. Trying to get this guy lined up to discuss the Mothman tomorrow, if all goes well.
Nice.
Then after that, Joe?
Well, me personally, I'm going to be doing an appearance at the Madison Horror Film Festival, November 3rd and 4th. And then Kale and I, November, I think 9th and 10th, are going to be down at the down in Indiana for the Paranormal Fest.
Awesome.
And then we're taking the winter off.
Hibernating.
We are taking the winter off.
Hibernating?
Mm-hmm. Yep, we're going to hibernate,
Nice.
and we're working on a book that we're going to get knocked out this winter, and starting to plan for the second location for the DVD.
Nice. Awesome.
And then anybody, I might get lucky enough. If there's anybody listening and you live in the Phoenix, Tucson area, come on up to Phoenix tomorrow and go to the Mesa Public Library, the main branch off Main Street there. I'll be doing a presentation with my group from 1 to 3 o'clock is the lecture, and then usually stretches on about another hour, and then I got a hightail at home for my radio show, but I'd love to meet you, so come out for that.
And the show on Z-Talk starts what time Eastern?
8.
8 Eastern.
8 Eastern.
See, I listen.
No. Is it 8? I always get the time zone screwed up.
I love the time zone algebra. We did this earlier, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know what? I think, Kale, I think you're right. It is 8 p.m. Eastern.
That's 7
Yeah, it's 8 Eastern for me. But see, Arizona, the time never changes. So right now, it's 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. So Joe lives in Wisconsin. It starts at 7 o'clock for him. Starts at 5 for me.
Yeah, it's
not to get y'all confused.
Yeah, the time zone algebra thing it gets us every time.
Well, it doesn't bother me because I'm in Central. I can go either way. I can go an hour that way or 2 hours that way. I can figure it out.
I just don't know where Mountain stops. Mountain and Pacific. I don't know where Mountain and Pacific meet.
I don't know. I'm still in the mountains here, so even though it's Phoenix, I'm surrounded by mountains. So, but you also got our website, the skepticaledge.webs.com, soon to be just .com, and then obviously find us on Facebook, The Skeptical Edge, or find you, and then off that you can find Joe and I separately, and so on and so on.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys both so much for coming on and talking common sense with our viewers. We love that. You have
No,
no
thanks
idea.
for having
Thank you so much.
Thank
Yes.
you so much
Yeah, I
for coming
appreciate-
on and talking common sense with Eric.
Hey, easy. Easy.
Thank
So-
you guys, and happy hauntings.
And to you too.
Good hunting. Of course, I don't know if you ever kill one. I want to see you mount it.
I just want to see it strapped to the hood of the car. That's it.
Mine is. You didn't see it?
Maybe I'll empty out I got like 2 pickles left in my pickle jar at home, and I think maybe I'll rip the label off and I'll print something out that says "Ghost in a Jar," and I'll take a picture of it and say, "I caught the bastard in my house. Anybody want to buy it for
There you
$5?"
go. You would not believe how many of those are already on eBay.
As seen
Oh,
on
I
YouTube.
know.
As seen on YouTube. Hey, you know what? I bet you're going to find that in Walmart next. Because they already have a whole shelf in every Walmart that says, as seen on TV. Eventually in a Walmart, you're going to have a whole section of products that says, as seen on YouTube.
Say goodnight to our guests.
Well, I know the show's over, but real quick, a future show, perhaps, maybe we could come back and discuss some of the old ways of investigating how to build your own equipment out of simple household items.
That would be
And I
awesome.
think some of those things people would probably find some fascination in, that you can actually build paranormal equipment out of some of the everyday items laying around your house that you never knew about.
Like dowsing rods.
Like Irish wind chimes, different things like that. So, yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right.
I'm the booker, so just hunt me down and say, hey, get me on.
She's the pimp. I'm just the meat puppet.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Yes,
much,
thank you for having
guys.
And once again, to our viewers, be sure and hop over to Uber City Radio here in about 45 minutes. Catch me on Yeti Radio. It's going to be my musical dyslexia.
They just hung up on you.
I think they did.
Yes, they did. And with that, wait.
But wait,
But
there's
wait,
more.
There's more. As soon as I can find out where the heck my book is.
On PEN, we spare no expense to be prepared.
Absolutely. Alrighty. Monday night, join Mary and myself on Just Saying with our lovely guest, Sal from the Shanley.
Yay, Uncle Sal.
And next Friday, Paranormal Investigator, Joni Montaigne.
Cool.
And that's all I'm telling you.
Don't
There's
forget-
something every night of the week. Join us. I think is it this week or next week? We have someone joining the ladies' night on Monday.
It will be not this coming Monday night, but the Monday night after that, Becca Shugart with Off the Wall. Buckle up tight, folks. She's going to put on a heck of a show.
Yep, but it always starts with me and Mary.
Yes, just saying. Just saying.
And with that, we are out of here. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. Bye.
That's right. Go get 'em, boys!
And welcome, everybody, to PEMA TV.
Welcome to Friday, October 12th, 2012. Yeah, not quite Friday the 13th, but close enough.
Pretty close.
Absolutely.
Been a very interesting week.
Yes, it's been an odd week.
Getting much closer to Halloween.
And getting much closer to going and playing with Mary in Gettysburg.
That is very true.
And Lady V.
I know. But here on PEN, I do have some exciting news for everybody that we did hit this week. If you go right up here above our heads, let's keep my finger where you can see it. Right up here above our heads, the buttons above our banner on the website, you'll see a World TV tab. World TV is basically where you can find all of our archive shows and some special stuff that we're only showing over there. But we did get word from World TV this week, out of the almost 350,000 channels that they have now, PEMA TV is now, or Para Encounters Network is now ranking number 26.
We were 28 2 days ago.
Yeah. We are 26 out of a little over 350,000 channels. And I am very humbled by that, and thank you. We like to thank all of our viewers and our listeners for that. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. You guys rock. Without you, we wouldn't be us.
Yeah. We really appreciate that. I mean, and our show hosts are top notch. They work really, really hard. I know some of them may do a really good show, and as soon as that camera goes off, they're puking in a trash can. I mean, we got some troopers over here. So, going to be a whole bunch of stuff coming. Please, once again, go up to the buttons up top. Check out the store tab. Stuff is a changing over there. If you have a product or a service that you'd like to advertise over there, give us a call. Look us up on Facebook.
That's legal.
Oh, and by the way, if you want to be a stalker, if you really, really, really want to work on your stalking skills, practice here on PEN. Go right below the chat room, and there's all of our social media buttons. Practice following us and work on your stalker skills.
And if you really want to stalk, send me an email. I'll give you his address.
All right, guys. But tonight...
Oh, we have guests. Yes, we do. You threw me there for a minute.
I hope.
No, that's just some weird noise. Anyway, our guests tonight are from the Skeptic Edge.
You got 30 quote orbs in this photo, and I'm like, there you go. There's your paranormal orgy.
Yeah. I mean,
go ahead.
I've
been on ghost hunts. Like we investigated the San Carlos Hotel in downtown Phoenix, which is you had Cary Grant stay there, Marilyn Monroe. It's supposedly really haunted. And we happened to be setting up our investigation. We had this whole floor to ourselves, and some lady walks in and she goes, "Oh my gosh." She goes, "I didn't know you guys were here, and I'm so-and-so from I don't know, they do ghost tours or whatever." And she said, "Oh, well, I have a ghost tour coming through at such and such time. Can you hold off on your investigation for half an hour?" And I was like, "Well, we can." And she said, "Well, that'd be great. You guys can come with us on the tour." And I really wasn't into that. I was like, "Oh boy." But I went, and one of the claims in the basement is of this little boy or whatever. People get pictures of orbs and whatnot. So you go into this basement, and sure enough, people are snapping pictures and looking at their cameras, and they're like, "Wow, look at all the spirits." And I was like, I don't want to say anything, but at the same time, I'm sitting there keeping my mouth shut thinking, holy smokes, what people believe is pretty amazing, and I think it's important to get out there and explain to people, hey, not necessarily everything you can capture is a ghost, but these are people that usually don't investigate, and they're there to have a thrill, and so those kinds of people, let them believe what they want, and I think it's great. If it brings joy to their life, then wonderful. But when you start posting your stuff all over Facebook and circling it and zooming in, and it's like, gosh, man, you're really stretching there. So
yeah. Absolutely. The fog pictures we simply posted because we thought it was cool because the fog actually rolled up this very high peak. And normally it stays at the bottom. It was nothing paranormal. We were just showing it does happen.
And that digital photography and small drops of water don't work well. I mean, seriously, guys, we posted it, and we've told this story 1,000 times, but I'll tell it again. I posted a picture on Facebook in an quote-unquote orb group. Okay? This is the other end of the spectrum. Okay? They're not absolute cynics and non-believers. These are the devout believers. These are the lemmings that will gladly jump off the cliff if the orb told them to. And I've posted a picture in there. It was taken in 20-degree weather with me smoking a cigarette outside in a snowstorm. Okay? And I put underneath there smoking.
I hope I pronounce this right. Joe Couto and Kale Kelly. Gentlemen, are you with us?
We are here.
Yes, we are.
Awesome.
Did I pronounce it right?
No. Close.
Oh, well.
Actually, it's Couto.
Couto. Well, it's C-O-U. It's O-U-T. It's Couto. Okay. Joe Couto and Kale Kelly.
Joe, I feel your pain. Our last name is Reisinger, so trust me, I've heard a few unintentional mispronunciations. Let's put it that way.
I've heard unintentional mispronunciations from farmers. So,
I've heard some intentional mispronunciations too, and they had a lot fewer letters in them.
Yeah.
Can you guys real quick just catch our viewers up? I know you guys do this little radio show thing on Z Talk Radio. Could you catch our viewers up on what got you started doing that?
Go ahead, Joe.
Kale? Oh, you want me? Okay. Well, I'm trying to think when. I want to say maybe 2007, 2008. Co-founder of our team and myself, we started a little radio show called the Skeptical Ghost Hunter, and we were just on a small little network. And it just, as we kept going and getting into it, and I ended up meeting up with Scotty Rourke, who invited us to come over to Z Talk, and the co-founder had left the show right after that, and I searched around, bounced through some co-hosts for a while, and ended up teaming up with Kale, and we've been doing the show, 2 years now over there?
It's like since 1968 or something. I don't know. Isn't that in Vietnam?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Vietnam, even better.
No, I actually did a show with my wife called Perspective, and then let's see, Joe was kind of doing his thing, and I don't know, he needed a co-host, and Joe and I got along really well, and we clicked. And so we stayed with the Skeptical Ghost Hunter for a while, but after a while, I guess we just got burned out on how many EVP shows can you have, how many psychics can you have. We both had interest. Well, me, especially had interest outside of just ghosts. And I said, well, what if we had this roundabout show where we can talk about everything and anything? And so that's where the Skeptical Edge was born.
I do know that the great thing about how you titled it is that I've always considered skeptics to be kind of the rudder of the ship.
Shadow on the wall that looks like a man. Lord, that lamp just moved on that stand. I got movement in the cellars, I got footsteps in the hall. There's no time to waste, I better make some calls. I gotta get ready, make everything right, 'cause all my rowdy friends are ghost hunting tonight. Hey, round up the team, let's get started. Hey, this is Brother Mike. There's a party and you're invited. We got the camera set, let's turn off these lights, 'cause all my rowdy friends are ghost hunting tonight. This old house has a long history. It should be real good for activity. And we got the house wired for sound and got motion alarms setting all around. Got a box full of batteries ready to go, and everyone's itching to start this show. Got our logo tees, driving black SUVs, and that one bald guy with a slick goatee. Hey, round up the team. Let's get started. Hey, this is Brother Mike. Well, there's a party and you're invited. We got the camera set, let's turn off these lights, 'cause all my rowdy friends are ghost hunting tonight. Hey, round up the team. Let's get started. Hey, this is your big brother Mike calling. There's a party and you're invited. We got the camera set, let's turn off these lights, 'cause all my rider friends are ghost hunting tonight.
No, it's not like we get on there and just spend the whole show saying, oh, that's all BS, we don't believe it, oh, you're full of crap. It has nothing to do with that. We just, we're both paranormal investigators. We travel all over the country speaking and investigating, and we're open-minded to the possibility of everything. I think what sets us aside is that we just tend to look at our evidence differently than most people do, and we just try to come across things more of with a skeptical point of view, as opposed to just calling everything an orb or everything a ghost. We try to really look deep into the data to try to find answers. So.
Yeah.
So you don't believe in orbs? I'm sorry,
well, I mean, the ones in photos, see, there's just nothing there for me anyway that says, wow, that's a ghost. I mean, have I seen blue balls of light in even some of the photos I have? Sure. I have video shooting down a hallway that shows what appears to be a ball of light come out of one wall and do an S kind of move down the hallway and disappear through another wall. Was that a ghost? Or, could that have been a bug that just happened to come into my IR light at a specific time, so it appeared to fade in, and then it went out of the light and appeared to fade out? See, those kinds of things I can't differentiate between being a bug or a ghost. I mean, it sounds interesting. I've never seen one outside of a photo or a lens as far as a camera, and I've been investigating for 12 years, countless locations, and so I'm not saying I don't believe, I'm just saying my conclusion is kind of set aside right now until I have further evidence.
I saw Jesus in some toast one time.
A lot of people have.
I didn't sell it on eBay. I should have.
Orbs just seem to be the biggest way to start the major debate in the paranormal.
Oh yeah.
And we've posted pictures of snow, of breath in the cold, of fog, and just posted them as Christmas snow, fog rolling up a hill, blah blah blah, and you'd be amazed at the amount of people who insist there's angels and demons and great grandma Esther in all of them.
I used to do a thing when I would do my lectures. I haven't done this in a couple of years, but I used to take a spray bottle, and I'd be right up on the stage. I'd take a spray bottle of water, spray it up in the air, and then I'd take a flash photo, and I'd pass the camera around and show everyone that